Norwich City have got the job done. Norwich City have won their first Premier League game of the season away to Brentford 2-1. Goals from Matthias Normann and Teemu Pukki, meaning that Norwich City now have a win on the board this Premier League season. It took 11 hard-fought matches to get here, but we are here. And Norwich City now go above Newcastle. We are off bottom of the table, at least for now, at time of recording. And it's been a long while since we last felt this feeling in the Premier League. I think it's about 2 years since Norwich last had a Premier League win. Of course, we've had a championship winning season in between that. But it's a massive relief to finally get a win on the board this season. And I'm sure that everyone watching this is either laughing or smiling at my stance on Daniel Farke, and I'm sure we will get into that later on in the video. But let's just for this moment soak in what it feels like to win again. And I think Norwich were good value for that win. The performance wasn't perfect, but considering the turmoil that we've been through this season, it was far improved. And it was much improved on Norwich's last outing against Leeds United, where they seemingly had no identity, no game plan. The performance levels from individuals were poor. Daniel Farke looked completely bemused when it came to making in-game changes. And it felt like it was very different today. I suspect that the players knew how big today was. Daniel obviously knew how big today was. I don't buy the argument that Daniel Farke is unsackable. I think Stuart Webber will have had serious conversations with him over the past few weeks. And when you go up against a side that you finished above last season in the Championship, you need to find something. You need to dig deep and find something. And that's exactly what Norwich City did today. And I always like looking at bookmaker prices before going into games. Brentford were about 8-13 to win today. Odds on, heavily odds on. In the same game last year, Brentford were odds against, and it just shows the difference in the trajectory over a year between Brentford and Norwich City. But Brentford have now lost 4 in a row after today's game. Norwich have got their first win on the board. And suddenly the mindset between the two, and I know that Brentford are still 7 points above us, the mindset is now Brentford are struggling and Norwich have got their win on the board and momentum to build off. In terms of the lineup, I actually think the injuries and illnesses to Ozan Kabak and Grant Hanley kind of forced Daniel's hand a little bit today and almost worked in our favour. We went with 4 at the back with Brandon Williams at left back. It was Ben Gibson and Omar Belly at centre back. Max Aarons, of course, in at right back. I feel like it was a 4-3-2-1 rather than a 4-2-3-1 with Rashica and Dowell in behind Teemu Pukki, and then Norman, Leymanu and McLean kind of sitting in front of the 4 defenders. I thought Brandon Williams had his best game in a Norwich City shirt. I thought he looked excellent down the left-hand side, was unlucky not to get an assist when Pukki dragged his shot wide to possibly put us 3-0 up. He missed that. I thought Leymanu added a bit of grit in the middle of the park. Matthias Normann, aside from a few stray passes late on, was by far our standout player. He took his goal excellently. The pass in for Teemu Pukki when he was brought down for the penalty was sublime, and it was nice to see Norwich City going about things, playing to Teemu Pukki's strengths. Pukki had a few chances today. He should have scored more than one. But them through balls through to him is what we need to do. Get it on the floor, play him off the shoulder. If he will continue to make them runs, and if we can find him on them through balls, then he will score goals like today. Took his penalty well. Put yourselves 2-0 up going into the half-time break. It's exactly what Daniel Farke would have wanted. It's exactly what Norwich City would have needed. The second half was painful to watch, but actually relatively comfortable. No, actually, that's a complete lie. It wasn't relatively comfortable to watch. I think the players would have felt fairly comfortable. Brentford huffed and puffed. The goal was poor to give away, completely dragged across the pitch, and it left Rico Henry with absolutely acres of space to finish past Tim Krul. And Tim Krul made some excellent saves. I think he had a poor game against Leeds United and arguably cost us points in that game, but he was phenomenal today. Made a few big saves at 2-0 to really keep us in it, and that's exactly what we needed today. And I think the response from the majority of the players was very good. The substitutions impressed me as well. I thought bringing Josh Sargent on helped at least relieve some pressure. It was for a good 20 minutes in that second half. It was just constantly Norwich clearing it and it coming straight back. I think Sargent relieved a bit of that pressure. He held up the ball well today. And Adam Eder came on for a late cameo and did his bit as well. Look, Norwich City still need to improve. We went up against the Brentford side today who were out of form, missing some players, and this was a championship fixture last season. But I'm not going to come on here and rain on the parade because Norwich needed to win, and we needed to win somehow, some way. And there were large portions of that game where Norwich looked very good, and there were portions of that game where Norwich looked like a side in the relegation zone of the Premier League. But now we have something to build from, and it feels different to the points against Brighton and Burnley because we offered something a bit different today. We didn't sit back and want to soak up pressure and went to Brentford for simply a point. It felt like we went there wanting to prove ourselves. And I don't think we've done that this season. We've maybe had spells in games where we've really tried to attack, but to balance that with the fairly solid defending for the most part is pleasing. And I suspect now all of the questions will be, well, Jack, what do you make of Daniel Farke? It certainly has been that way on Twitter. I don't regret what I've said about Daniel in the past few weeks, and I don't think one game changes that. But now it's all about how do we back this up? We've got some winnable fixtures coming up. We've got an international break now, which, by the way, feel like every other week. It's Southampton at home, which is winnable. Let me have a quick look. Then it's Wolves. Then it's Newcastle. You've got 3 games in there that, probably not going to win them all, but you've just beaten Brentford away from home. Southampton at home suddenly looks appetising. Maybe pick up a point against Wolves. And then you've got, at the moment, a team up in Newcastle who we're currently above. So if we can maintain that consistency throughout the next month, Norwich is suddenly in a very different place. Now, looking at the table, we're still 5 points from safety. Leeds and Watford both have a game in hand. I think they play tomorrow. So we shall see where we're at come the end of Sunday. But Norwich have done what they needed to do today, and that feels incredibly pleasing indeed. We still have the likes of Todd Cantwell, Christos Jolis to come back into the side. If they do, I don't know what's going on there. But it felt a bit more like Daniel Farke of old today and Norwich City of old. I think it's clear from the performance that the players' heart are still in it, which I think I questioned after that Leeds performance. I think most people questioned after that Leeds performance. But they threw everything out there today, and I've criticised Norwich heavily this season, so it's only right for me to come on here today and praise them, because I thought on the whole they were very good. I thought the performances of Ben Gibson and Big Andy were improved. I think Ben Gibson especially would have looked at himself after that Chelsea performance and have been incredibly disappointed, and he's come out there today and put in an incredibly solid performance. I think there's still work to be done in that midfield in terms of retaining the ball when we're under pressure. But let's take baby steps first. And I'm just delighted that they've finally got their win. I don't think there's been many performances this season that have warranted 3 points, but I think that performance today did warrant it. There was a bit of everything. There was defensive prowess. There was quality in the final third. There was precision passing through the lines, which we haven't really seen this season, and I think there was a a classiness about Norwich City in that final 20 minutes to just grind the game out. I think they were clever about their win today, and that feels incredibly pleasing. Brentford under Thomas Frank are very streetwise, and they couldn't find the way past Norwich in that final 20 when they were really under pressure, and that feels hugely, hugely pleasing. So look, it's one win in 11. And in the grand scheme of things, that's not good at all. We've got 5 points on the board, but it's a start, and that's all you can ask for. I'm hardly going to come on here today and begrudge a win. I want to see Norwich win under Daniel Farke as much as every single other person. And let's just hope we can maintain some kind of form throughout the next month, because there's some really big games up ahead. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your Saturday evening, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.